Good morning, everyone. I figured today I'd do a little what I eat in a day / meal prep video because you guys seem to really be liking those. So this morning I started off with some yoga. I've been trying to get back into yoga. I was so consistent before with yoga and it made me feel so good. And then life just got to me and I really stopped doing it for a while. So I'm trying to be consistent and do it every single day. I've been watching a lot of YouTube videos on it just to keep me consistent. Even if I just do 10 minutes a day, I'm just trying to do it every single day. So for breakfast this morning, I wanted to try and recreate this Rebel Mocha Maca drink. If you guys have ever had it, it's really good. So I put 3 bananas in my blender with a date, and then I added in some nitro cold brew coffee that I actually make. We have a nitro cold brew thing in our garage. It's amazing. And then I added some of this coconut milk powder because they use coconut milk in theirs and I didn't have any coconut milk, so I wanted to try this out. And some mushroom powder mix with cacao powder as well, and then some maca powder, a few hemp seeds, and some pea protein that I get from nuts.com, a little bit of water, and I just blended that all up. This was pretty good. I have to work on it a little bit. It didn't taste exactly like the Rebel drink that I'm addicted to, but I'll work on it. So today I was doing a ton of meal prep and I was doing some stuff for my blog, which I will link all of these recipes down below for you guys. This is definitely a top recipe that I've made. This was the first time making it, but I am addicted to it. It's basically like a creamy wild rice mushroom soup. So what I'm doing here is I'm just blending some cashews with some miso while I have some onions, garlic, and ginger simmering, and then I added in some vegetable broth, a cup of wild rice, some potatoes. So I mixed together sweet potatoes and normal potatoes. I like to do that with like dals and curries and stuff because the sweet potatoes give it a sweeter taste, and then the other potatoes just add like a richness and starchiness. Threw some kale in there, some Italian seasoning, and I just put that in my Instant Pot for 22 minutes and just let that cook. Once it was done, I added in the cashew cream that I made, and this just adds a lot of like creaminess to it. And then I threw in another pot of the exact same thing, except for without mushrooms because Derek doesn't like mushrooms. So for me, I'm a really intuitive cook. I basically come up with all of my recipes just by like thinking about something that I want to make, and then I test it out, I try it, I see if it's good. So I was just taste testing this. I added in a little bit of apple cider vinegar, which just adds a little bit more acid to it and definitely made it taste more like how I wanted it to taste. And then I had to take some Instagram photos and some photos from my blog, so I was just setting that up here. But with most of my recipes, I just kind of wing all of them, and I feel like because I've been cooking vegan for 6 years now, like I really just know how food goes together. And if you're somebody who really relies on recipes, just try to be maybe more intuitive and go with the flow a little bit more and trust yourself. So I actually ended up eating that entire bowl of soup because it was so delicious. Honestly, this is the best recipe I've made in like a year. It's so good. And then I had to make another recipe for my blog, so I was making a chickpea salad sandwich, and all of the ingredients are pretty simple. There's just like some red onion, sunflower seeds, maple syrup, mustard, tahini, chickpeas, and I added some celery and some seasonings to that. Super simple to make. I just threw all of this into my blender, and this made enough for about 3 sandwiches, which I just ate throughout the week. If you make this and you blend it up, you want to just make sure you keep it kind of chunky because the texture really adds a lot to it. And then you can basically just chop up whatever kind of veggies you like. So I just chopped up some cucumber, red onion, tomatoes, put some on the bread, and I didn't really eat a lot of this. Because I was pretty full from that delicious soup. So I was just taking photos for my blog again, and I had a few bites to make sure that the taste was fine, and it was very delicious. Highly recommend. And then I just ate that through the week. I had it with some cucumber slices once, and then I just threw it on a salad another time. I also made some sweet potatoes for my dogs because they love baked sweet potatoes, so I basically just chop up a few sweet potatoes every few days, throw them in my air fryer for 25 minutes. They're addicted to sweet potatoes, I tell you. Great snack for dogs. I personally don't really like to buy a lot of packaged bars anymore, like Lara bars or processed bars like that, protein bars. So I make my own, and we didn't have any, so I threw about 2 cups of oats into our blender with about 10 to 12 dates, and then I also just added in some sunflower seeds, which are really great for vitamin E. They're just really good for you, so I like to just throw in things that I like have on hand that I know are good for me. I also added in some protein powder because if I'm gonna have a delicious little snack bar, I might as well make it beneficial for myself as well. And then some peanut butter to add to like the creaminess and help it all stick together. I just blended that up and then threw in some chocolate chips for flavor. It wasn't really as sticky as I wanted it to be, and it needed a little bit of salt and vanilla, so I just added that in there and added some maple syrup to help it stick together a bit better and to obviously make it sweeter. So then I just threw this into a nonstick pan and just pressed it into the pan as hard as I could, and then added some more chocolate chips because why not? They're dessert bars. I also put some coconut flakes on here just because I really like the flavor of coconut, and I feel like when I put them inside of the bar, like when I blend it together, I can't taste the coconut as much, so I just put it on top. And then I just scored this and threw it in my freezer just so that when it's done, when I take it out of the freezer an hour later, it's really easy to get out of the pan. And these are just super simple to make. I love stuff like this where I don't have to cook anything and I can just kind of like whip it all up together in my blender with what I have. Another version I really like to make is macadamia nuts with cacao butter. It tastes like white chocolate Cliff Bars. Ugh, so good. So I just put these in little Tupperware container, obviously trying to reduce waste here. I don't have to throw away wrappers, and snack bars are expensive. They're like $2 a piece sometimes. They're ridiculous. So making your own is just super simple to do, and this will last us like a week at least. And then I just wanted to have a little bit of tea, so I threw some soy milk into a glass with some stevia, and I basically just bulk make chai tea. So I will just like boil a bunch of water, throw a few tea bags in there in a mason jar, and then just throw the hot water in there, let it cool, take the tea bags out, and then just throw the tea in the fridge so that I have it, add some cinnamon to it, super good. Another thing I always bulk prep for the week usually is refried beans because they're really simple. So I just threw an ancho chili pepper in here after I soaked the beans for 4 to 5 hours, and then I just cooked them for an hour like you guys have seen in my last video. I blend them all together with my immersion blender, and this is something that Derek will eat like every single day. So I basically just always make sure that I have tortillas on hand, some of this Cena El Pastor vegan meat, and he can just make burritos like if I'm gone and you know there's nothing to make. He always has ingredients to make tacos because I swear that boy used to be like from Mexico in a past life and he just loves tacos. Ten?
10 out of 10.